You all please stand and join me in our pledge of allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gracious God, as we come to you this day to begin another session of the Carl Junction Board of Aldermen, we ask that you impart upon us your wisdom and guidance so that we may promote justice, assist those in need, and provide for the overall well-being of the citizens of Carl Junction. Amen.
Thank you, Holly. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We need to amend the agenda from September 20th to October 4th.
On the notice of meeting paragraph?
Yes.
Very well.
Second.
You made that a motion?
Yes.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Rick Flynn to amend the agenda, changing the meeting date from September 20th to October 2nd, 2020. October 4th, 2022. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Now would you like to approve the agenda as amended?
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, so Roger Spencer to approve the amended agenda. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The agenda is approved. Next is the approval of the consent agenda, which is the approval of the previous meeting's minutes on September 20th and approval of disbursements. Are there any comments, questions, or discussions on the consent agenda?
Make a motion. We approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Don Allen to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The consent agenda is approved. Next on the agenda is public forum. Anyone wishing to speak at public forum? Yes, please go forward. I'll read this. Come on up here. All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium, then state your name and address and the subject matter you wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to maintain certain these rules are followed and to maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may, of course, provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or response at a later time as they deem appropriate.
I'm Tyler Bliss, 122 Sunset Loop here in Carl Junction. My wife owns a building down here on Main Street, which we have a lot of city water at. I had come in to get water hooked up for that. Came in, I guess to provide an overall thing. In the end, I'm going to ask you to forgive me some late fees and disconnect stuff on it. I'd come in at one point early on because I was going to be on vacation to try to get things paid ahead. Everything was good with that. Several weeks later, after coming home, I found a notice stuck under the door at the building, which is a vacant building right now, stating that I had a disconnect notice. Through the course of things, I found that they've been trying to send that bill to that vacant building, which of course there's nobody there, and I don't know where that post office even winds up putting that mail. Came in to try to work that out and said that I'd have to come and talk to you guys about getting a disconnect notice taken care of on that. My assumption was that if I wasn't receiving service that I wouldn't be billed anymore. Turns out I got billed another fee on top of that, even when it was service had been cut off. Through the course of all of that, all of the bills that I set up for that building, gas, electric, since it's commercial, garbage, that all wound up getting sent to my house, except for the water bill. I don't know how that got dropped or misdirected. I think I asked for it to be sent to my house. I don't know all that for sure. In the end, I'd just like to have all of my, and I'm paid up in full and everything here now too, plus 2 other places that I have from Carl Junction that I'm always pay on time and everything. So I'd really just like to get all of my other fees refunded to me. But I submit that to you.
Steve or Alina, you want to respond to?
I wasn't here. Sorry. I mean, it has been historically from the council, they have not refunded those fees for disconnects. It's always been on the circumstances that go along with it, though.
And I did speak with Mr. Bliss on the phone. I pulled the paperwork from when he came in originally to set up the service. There is no address written on there that we were given an address to mail to. I do have that paperwork, and I explained to him also that we don't automatically deactivate an account after one disconnect notice. So the reason it generated the bill that second month, even though it had been disconnected because the water service was still active, and anything from 0 to 1,000 gallons does generate a minimum bill. Now, we have since put his account on hold so that as long as there is no water usage, there will not be a bill. But that's why a bill was generated that second month, because the account was still active. So anything from 0 to 1,000 gallons, the system is going to generate that minimum bill.
Yes, Holly.
So you came in to have your water set up or disconnected?
To have it set up. And in fact, on 2 or 3 different occasions, I've been in person to try to stop exactly these things from happening. And every time I've come in person, I got hit back. I mean, I've come in to pay or to pay ahead or whatever. And every time, and the first time, I kind of said, well, I don't actually want to pay this then at this time. I came in willing to pay. I said, I really don't want to give you all of these fees that I'm going to ask you back for, because it's really easy for you guys to sit over there and say, oh, he's already got, we've already got the
So
money.
when you paid ahead, is that when you went out of town? Were you?
No, they
paid
told me
ahead?
I had plenty of time, which it looked like I would. However, then I never got a bill to pay because it was going to the wrong address.
Okay, so you still paid your water bill at your private residence?
Oh, yeah, and at another place that my wife owns here too. I mean,
So you didn't think you should pay that third one at that same?
well, sometimes, I guess they don't all come in at the same time, and I've got enough different things that I don't, have a checklist of every bill. Just when the bill shows up, I turn around and pay it, usually immediately.
Okay, so you went 2 months without paying the bill at all, and you were not aware that it was disconnected?
No, I mean, I hadn't been over there. I don't go over there and flush the toilet, it's vacant building right now. So, whatever bills I got, I paid. I almost had them all. And with that said too, all of the other, I for sure I can't say for sure that I came in and said, send me the bill to this place. But, I have this other place my wife has, which I had done that works properly, came to the right address. My garbage bill comes to the right address, my electric bill comes to the right address, my gas bill comes to the right address, all for these buildings, for this building and for the other one that my wife owns, plus my home. So I'm I don't think that I didn't say, don't send this one to my address. I think I caught every one of them.
Well, not that you didn't say, don't send it to my address,
Right.
but that we
Well,
were not aware of. the
right, you're
address. Yes, we were.
So
aware of the
the
building.
fact that all of the other places got it, I'm pretty sure I asked that here too. And of course, it was, setting that up, me asking a bunch of other questions and stuff, it could have easily got dropped. I think I asked for it to be sent there. I think I didn't. I can't say for sure.
So is the fee just $25, or what are we talking here?
Well, there's a couple of late fees.
The
Plus
disconnect
disconnect
fee
fee.
was $25. The late fee the first month was $305, and the second month was $609.
So basically $35.
$35? So we're talking?
I think it's more than that total from what I'm showing here.
Well, definitely the delinquent bill would not be forgiven.
Well, I came in to pay that, and then figured that I wouldn't be paying, that I wouldn't be charged anymore because I don't have the service. When I would have hoped that in that exchange that we had at the desk,
So is the water off at this moment?
Yes, it is. Well,
Okay, so you're not
it's disconnected, and then now, I wasn't aware that having a suspended account was even like on the menu, that I could choose that. I guess I assumed that if I'm not receiving the service, I won't get billed for it. When I had come in today, they had told me, yeah, that I can say, yes, suspend it, which at that point I did say, please suspend it. And I went ahead and paid everything up front. So right now, you guys have all of my money. I'm just asking for that portion back.
The $35?
The cutoff, and I think 2 late charges. Is that correct?
Yes,
The
that's
25, the 3, and the 6?
What does that total up at? Did you say?
just, I think it was 3413, I'll do it again. It's just under 35.
Well, and we have residents that come to us with this same request. And the policy is that we don't waive the late fees.
Okay.
And the thing is, especially where you do have other Carl Junction water accounts. I mean,
Which are on good standing.
even, right, that's what I mean. So you're paying them every month, so you kind of know when the bills are coming and when they're due. Even if you get the bills a day or two apart, they're still due on the same day every month.
Yeah, I for sure understand that.
Well, my problem was I looked at the paperwork when you set up your service, and there's nothing on that paperwork that asks to have your bills forwarded. And I would assume if you're not going to have service there, you need to have your bills forwarded to your address like you do on everything else.
That's true.
If you had had a name on there saying you wanted it forwarded to that thing, I'd say you're perfectly right. But we have no record of you ever asking for that. That's my problem.
You're correct. I think that I did pass that information on.
Well, is this in our writing or that's in Renee's writing?
Oh, and you're saying that I needed to provide that to you in writing.
Yeah, she should have taken it down. She took down everything else on it, but she didn't take any forwarding address on there.
Yes.
So what's the pleasure of the council?
Well, I go back to what you said, or we've said in the past too. I mean, you said that you had Liberty and gas, and all your other bills were coming in, and you were paying them. I mean, would you notice that you didn't get a water bill?
Not as many bills as I got coming in.
I mean, what? You're not gonna get nosy, but what, you got 3 residents or 3 buildings?
3 buildings, correct.
I would think that you would notice that you didn't get a bill. I mean, I would notice that I didn't get my water bill for the month, and I did, because we had some issues with that.
Okay.
And it's really no different than when somebody comes in and says, I didn't get my bill in the mail. I mean, even if they've got the address that it's going to, we can't control the post office. And in this case, we mail it to the address that was on there.
So essentially, you got a bill, you just didn't get it to your home residence.
That is correct. Well, I can't say that, because it for sure didn't even go to that building, because there's no one there to receive it. I mean, when I go to the door there, the disconnect notice was obviously shut under the door.
Right.
But clearly nobody else going there. Which at that point, I guess I also assumed maybe you guys would have got it back and said, oh, this didn't get delivered there. Hopefully you say, this guy has 2 other accounts with us. Where is all of that mail going to? Oh, I see 122 Sunset Loop. Let's send it to him. Or you call my phone number and say, your mail's come back.
Well, that's a lot of dots to connect there for.
Okay.
You don't have a mailbox at your building? You don't have a forwarding, anything set up?
No.
The post office requirement on Main Street is that people have a PO box. And so when we moved, or when we sent those, they were sent back to us, as he said. But the post office usually puts a forwarding address on there, or an expiration, or that type of thing. And how we get them back with that little yellow sticker on there, there was no forwarding address at the post office
That is correct.
to send it to.
So what's the policy there when we get returned mail? nothing.
If we get it returned and it has a forwarding address on it, we will
We would
change
correct
the
that.
address. and
But if there's no
forward
forwarding
it to
address.
the correct one, yes.
And I can say, I mean, I understand what you're saying about you have other accounts, but I also understand that I would think that we could have some issues if we have a delinquent bill and we're like, oh, well, this person gets bills at this, and then we send it to the address and maybe,
That seems like a
For
big
privacy reasons.
violation.
you know, I don't know that we could do that necessarily. And we get a lot of delinquents, so it's not like they can pick up the phone every week or every month and call anybody on the list and say, did you get your bill because you haven't paid?
Yes, Mike.
Well, you mentioned that there's a bill generated for zero usage. What is that minimum bill amount?
For a commercial customer, which is what this is, it's $34.13. That's the base water, base sewer fee. There's no garbage in that since commercial are required to have their own separate accounts.
And that's up to $1,000. That's what,
Anything from
Zero.
0 to 1,000 gallons, yes.
Which you're not paying anymore because you've suspended your account. Is that-
I think finally that's the case. That is the case now, right?
Correct, yes, as long as there is no usage there,
Right.
then there will not be a bill.
But you were paying that from the point where you got it first turned on.
Well, I got a bill for that, right?
And you paid that amount, but you're just, the late portion of that is what's.
Well, I guess once the service had stopped, I guess I assumed that I wouldn't be billed anything, because my assumption was I wouldn't be billed for something that I wouldn't have to pay for something I didn't get. And that is, I suppose I can have that suspended. I wasn't aware that I could have that. I assumed when I came in the first time that was already the case, that I wasn't being continued to be charged. And I need to keep beating up on this for this amount of time.
You're lucky you didn't have a water leak.
Yeah.
That has happened to me.
Yeah.
Council, what's consensus?
What's the total? I still haven't figured out that yet.
$34.
$34.
Plus, and I guess
That's what I mean. This gentleman keeps saying there's more to that. That's why I'm trying to figure out what the total is.
I guess the month that I didn't receive any service, there's 2 months now that I haven't paid for and didn't receive service.
So that base rate for 0 gallons usage, the $35.
But you
commercial
did
rate.
have the service, you just weren't there using water. You
Oh,
still
it
have
had
the
been
service
had been disconnected. So,
It
I
was
mean, I didn't have the
disconnected,
service.
after you had the usage.
It was disconnected, but didn't suspend it. That's why I got the other $34.
Oh, if it's disconnected, they don't charge you for the water.
But they charge, but it's
Thanks.
still charged the
But
base fee,
The
right?
first month you get disconnected, a bill will still generate the next month. For 2 reasons. One, that by the time we do disconnections, we're already a week into the new billing cycle. So even if your water stopped on the 25th, you still have 10 days worth of usage. So most of the time, even when there's disconnections, there's still water usage for the next month. The second is because we have people that don't pay immediately. I mean, we took a payment, I think, earlier this week for someone that was disconnected last month. So we don't immediately disconnect all of these accounts. We give them 2 months. Now, if we have 2 disconnectees in a row and we have not received a payment, at that point, we will final out the account because we don't want the disconnect fees to keep accruing if they're not there. But we don't do it immediately after disconnections. We do give it 2 months because of that.
So was he, okay, the first month he was billed, then he had a disconnect, so he had a second month that billed. Did we bill a third month? No,
2 months.
Okay.
And the first month, there was usage.
there was,
There was no usage the second month. He is correct about that. The second month is for a 0 gallon bill. But the first month, there was a little bit of usage.
if there was, I mean, if there had been a third month after the disconnect, then that might be something I would think we could waive. But the rest, I mean, we've got several people that would come in and say the same thing and ask the same thing, and I don't think we can make an exception. I think when we make an exception, then there's 70 other cutoffs that could come in and say the same thing. I mean, basically, maybe a few different details.
It'd take this much time.
Sorry.
No, I know I'm burning up a lot of your time here. It's way more than you can.
Oh, we make a lot of money.
Boy,
Not enough to pay his water.
yeah, barely. I didn't cover that.
Would anyone want to do anything about this?
And you just call it up to a vote and close that off.
Well, we don't vote, we just have a consensus unless they want to vote to do it.
So we stick with policy.
Okay, consensus, stick with policy?
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you for coming in though, I appreciate it.
Can I leave my other current water bill with the, one of the ladies at the desk here?
Okay with me?
Thank you.
Have you had the address change on your billing?
Yes, they.
Good.
Oh, and we have autograph feature available as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that savvy yet.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to speak at public forum?
Thank you.
Everybody.
Last call for public forum. Very well, then we'll move along. Next is review and approval of the audit report for FY 2022. I guess that'd probably be part of the budget committee.
Okay, we can do that, and then this will be my budget update also. We met last week with our new auditor, who presented their findings and their budget report, and got good feedback, no areas of concern, just a couple minor changes in some stuff we're doing with them. The other members of the budget committee, I think, agree that it was a very good presentation, he explained things in a very clear, simple manner to us. So unless anybody has questions about the report, we have to accept the audit report.
Yep. Just a vote. A motion and a vote.
Well, I move that we accept the findings of the annual budget audit.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Jim Goosey to accept the audit proposal as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The audit report is approved. Next is a review and approval of the utility policies and procedures. This goes kind of right along with our public forum. You want to explain this, Steve?
This is just a amended, this is what our billing policy is already. There was just a couple of amendments that I gave to you last meeting, are the only changes that I received, and so those are incorporated into it. One was we're not responsible for email servers like Google or GoDaddy or any of that. So just like we're not responsible for the U.S. Postal Service delivering stuff, that was probably the biggest change in there. I think there was one other too, wasn't there?
Yeah, I hope that anybody that's on Gmail like I am, my bill was in junk mail or spam.
Yeah, we did.
And I had to call it up in spam, and I had to click on not spam, and now I'll be getting it in my regular mail. Because Google has changed their policy on stuff. It's nothing we did, it's total Google trying to protect us even more.
Ours
Get more money.
Ours actually went to the inbox, but then I just learned that the one you were sending from billing every month had went to my husband's spam folder. He just automatically went in and looked at it, and I wasn't aware of that.
So with you guys' approval on this, we'll fill in that date of approval following last review, and these will go back into place. And I think another thing that we'll do with these is, we talked a little bit about, we'll put these in every new resident packet so that they get these with, when they get the other information.
Very good.
Sounds good.
Are we up to date on our new website?
No, that's a different issue.
Can we put that on there? What's it?
No, that's a different issue.
Why not, when that's,
Oh,
when the
yeah.
website's
Yes,
done, post it on.
Okay, so we just need a motion to approve the
Right.
amended policy, correct?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn to approve the amended utility policies and procedures. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The amended, or the, whatever it is, the procedures done. Next, we go to reports. We got the administration report here, which also includes, since it's the first meeting of the month, the long-term projects with the report.
I do have a question.
Yes.
First of all, did we hear anything on the phase 6? Did they announce on September 30th? Have you got any emails or anything?
Take my thunder. Yes,
Well, it's in here.
I just don't,
Okay, then I'll let you do your thunder here in a minute.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
We got approved for phase 6 grant from MoDOT for the next section of sidewalk, which would be from
Grimes,
Dean to Arlington,
Dean Darling. Okay.
right? Good. Yes, around the corner, yeah,
How much should we get?
I don't know,
Is that a 25% match?
80-20.
80-20. Okay, well, excellent. I have one more question, and that went back to what Rick said. When are we gonna get any kind of answer on the website?
I have spoken to the person that is doing the content migration, and she said she should be able to have it up and running by the end of the month.
At the end of this month?
Yes.
So we're gonna look at like 90 days instead.
Mhm.
Must be hard to get a website.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that update. That's all that I have.
Did we have a time frame in our original contract for the website?
I don't know if it's in the contract.
I don't know if it is.
They have
We do, we'd have to
originally
review it.
said that it was possible to get it up and running within 30 days. That hasn't happened in this instance, but I don't know if there was a time frame in the contract.
Yeah, that might be good to, if we can pull it and see. Put a little heat under that cooker.
And you can read also like Lakeside Park, you're going out for approval on the design, right?
Yeah, we're waiting on the contract from Bartlett West, so that we can get an ordinance passed by you guys to, then we have already talked, and Crystal and I already talked to Bartlett West, gave them a general idea of what we were looking for, so they can incorporate that scope of work into the contract.
And we hope the government's gonna tell us about the water projects in October like they promised.
Yeah, we hope.
Yeah. But ARP money,
State ARPA money.
but I mean, the second batch, you said we got that?
Yes, we already got that in.
Yeah.
It's sitting in the bank account.
Yeah. So we got the second year's funding in. And optics is still waiting on the Osage Indians to give them their response.
The Center Creek Bank stabilization today, we got that project's done, and we will have a change order for a deduct on that one. It's not going to cost us as much as what the contract was. It didn't use near the rock that Kurt had put into the.
Even after going all the way to the top.
Very large.
They had extra rock.
Not on here also is the sewer line underneath Center Creek, just by the bridge there. That project, last time we did a change order for it, right? Is that still ongoing in that project or?
No, it's done.
Okay, that's what, last time we did that change order, I thought, I asked if it was still going on, but
Yeah, it's completed. They did seed it with some oat grass. Some of it came up, some of it didn't. You know, it's just trying to get it to grow when you don't have any water.
Yeah. Anything else, city administrator? Alrighty, then we'll go along with the treasurer's report. Treasurer's report in front of us. Any comments at the treasurer's report? None, then we'll move right along to department reports. PD, we have a PD report here. Mark isn't here because he's at Myrma training or something.
Chief's training with Myrna counts on our points for approval. Counts in our points for our rates when he goes to that.
When's he gonna be back?
Tomorrow afternoon, I believe.
Write down to tell him that the basketball goal on Par Lane is still in the street.
Okay.
It is dark down there. We drove down there.
Yeah,
Yes.
I drove by there tonight on the way here and it's still there in the street. It was gone for a little bit, they moved it back.
Okay.
Anything else for the comments about, I guess we can't talk to the police. Gee, you got here. Any comments on the police report? Talk about the guy, Bailey's. Is that in here?
Oh,
I mentioned it, so everybody knows what's going on.
Just so you guys know, there's a case in here too in his notes, but just so you guys know, here a week and a half ago, there was a man that went to someone's house to try to sell weapons, is what was in the PC. Anyhow, he went to try to sell weapons. The resident called it in. Police responded and saw a business owner outside of his business, described the guy, and he said, yeah, I just found him in our storage shed and told him he had to leave, and he ran across the road. It was at Briarbrook, and he ran over towards Casey's. Well, he was seen coming behind Casey's. They saw him drop a backpack and try to gain entry into a home on Anita Plaza. He was taken into custody eventually, but not before he tried to reach for the backpack and then pull his hand away and reach to the front of his body where there was a loaded 9mm. And he also had a crossbow in the backpack. I guess he thought he was on The Walking Dead, I'm not sure. But had paraphernalia and marijuana in one pocket and needles and a meth pipe in the other pocket. But just so people know, and he was homeless. So you may see, I have a booking photo if anybody recognizes him, but just kind of keep on the alert because we are having a lot different activity that's moving into the area than what we're used to.
It just doesn't happen in New York and San Francisco and Chicago. It's happening here now.
And luckily, the resident that he went to their home called it in quickly, and the police response was very quick, and they did what they needed to do. And fortunately, no one was hurt. But like I say, as he was being cuffed, he pulled his hand towards the front of his body, and when they got him in cuffs, he did have 8 rounds in the magazine, not one in the chamber, but a 9mm that was stuck into his front of his pants.
So he just went to like a random person's home, or was it someone he?
I think maybe he went to the wrong house. I'm not sure.
Obviously you did.
That's what I don't know. I can speculate on things, but going off what is in the probable cause affidavit, which is the sworn statement, he went to a resident attempting to sell weapons. So obviously went to a house that maybe didn't have weapons, or he might not have made it off the porch.
Very true. All right, that's it with PD. We'll move on to building inspector's report. Any comments about the building inspector's report? Nope. Very well, then we'll go to public works. We have the public report here in front of us. I got an email from a guy, Jay, I don't know if Steve told you or not, probably didn't, about the corner of Broadway and Z Highway. Pothole. I went by there tonight, it's still there. Probably need to get filled up so this gentleman doesn't get another flat tire. I mean, I've been by there 3 times now.
On the south side.
It's on Yeah, it's on the south side, right? If you're going down Broadway north, the stop sign's here at Z. It's just right there. So when you turn to the right, you go over it unless you know it's there like I did, and you can either straddle it or go around it. So if you go through it, I mean, you're not paying attention.
AT&T dug down to see how deep our water main was, and they never patched it back.
Okay,
But we'll get it patched.
okay, appreciate that. Anything else for Jay?
I've got a question on the shut-offs for non-payment at 60. Is that normal? About how many we normally get a month?
It's pretty close.
Is it okay?
It's unbelievable.
Going back.
It's unbelievable.
I
Say
know, that was
55 to 65.
Going back to the previous gentleman.
You go to their door and give them the notice, then they write you a check with the
No,
extra late
I'm
charge.
not questioning. I was just asking.
It's just unbelievable. Anything else for Public Works? Very well then, we'll head into committee reports. Oh, where's my committee? Oh, it's right here. What? Yo, Bob.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the park, or the disc park, and I'm sure the bluegrass was real, everything looked really nice.
Yeah, you did. You guys did a good job.
Bluegrass is
Getting that
really
stuff
nice.
ready.
Big turnout.
20,000 people around.
I didn't get to go to it this year.
Me neither.
You missed out.
Anything else? All right, committee reports. Budget and Finance, LaDonna.
Well, budget we pretty much covered, with the audit, that's about the only thing, except with the change order, that's gonna help out, part of our budget's on some projects we already planned.
Anything for budget? Very well, code nuisance, Rick.
Nothing at this time.
Anything for Rick? Human Resources,
Nothing.
Roger? Anything for Roger? Public Facilities, Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
I just want to ask you one thing. We talked about sprinklers. Have you, anybody in your group talked to Ray Schmidt?
No.
You're probably not going to get sprinklers unless somebody talks to them and finds
Well,
out where
maybe
they
somebody
are.
else, but it hasn't been me, so.
Okay, you might want to talk to Justin Teeter. Talk to Jason, yeah. Have him talk to Ray. Ray's got a guy named, what was it, Dusty? That put him in, that should know where everything is. And Bob and I and Jim went out to old number 5 on Lakeside Park with a metal detector. We identified 5 sprinklers we can pull up out there right now. But no offense, Bob, it wasn't a very strong metal detector. But it did get us, we did find 5 of them. And I spray painted around them and they can dig up. And if we can do that on where the soccer fields are, if we can find some out there too, or at least find it. I was talking to Steve today. I'd like to try and find a way, if Dusty can help us or whatever his name is. I said, if he can hook water up to them somewhere or another to see if we can energize it to see where these things are. So I just, you're on public facilities. I think you need to talk to these soccer people. We need help from them to do that. I mean, Jay is real busy doing stuff like that. So, but we'll help any way we can.
Sure.
Anything? Go ahead.
Does anybody happen to have contact information for Mr. Schmidt? Or
Oh, I can get it for you. I'll give it to you.
if you do, then
He lives on Fairway. Lives on Fairway. Yeah, I'll get it to you.
thank you.
Anything else for public facilities? Okay, next is senior citizens. Richard?
I really don't have a report, but people ask about activities and menu, and I will get that for you. I apologize, so.
Well, we had a golf tournament Saturday. We'd have been at breakfast.
There you go.
I missed it. And then I kept telling everybody, well, no, it's September 31st, but they only have 30 days in September. So I was wrong on a couple of counts.
I was at breakfast, it was wonderful.
What did you have to drink?
What?
What did you have to drink?
When?
You can't remember how many days.
Oh, man, I got that rhyme that I had. But it's nothing else?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Then we'll move right along to unfinished business. Jim?
No, sir.
Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
Don? I have none.
Nothing.
Rick?
No, sir.
Bob?
Nothing.
Holly?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kelly? Elena? Crystal? Steve?
One item is, I had a gentleman call me about, the ongoing parking out at the soccer fields.
I bet.
Evidently, they park on the east side of Briarbrook Drive also. Both sides of Briarbrook Drive.
Yep.
He had a child that ran out in front of him that he almost hit. He realized there was not a whole lot that we could do about the parking, but he wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of it. There's just not enough parking, you know. And there was a tournament going on too on Saturday, so it was
That's right.
really busy, really.
Yep.
So,
And the garage sales were going on.
and garage sale going on. I mean, it was just nuts. So anyway, it could have been a lot worse. I guess a sibling could have stopped before he ran into the side of the car.
Well, that's, you know, I mean, that section there is very wide on Briarbrook Drive.
That's very
So it does accommodate parking on both sides.
Yeah, it does.
But,
He wondered about no parking on the east side. I don't really think that's going to be effective, though.
somebody ran from the east side,
Yes, they ran from the east side.
from the golf course?
Well, if their parents were parked.
Well, they were
or
parallel
something,
parked
and they
along
got
the east
out,
side of
they
Briarbrook
tried to
Drive.
stop.
I know, but you'd think they would always be over on the other side. Unless they just parked and they gotten out and were going to the soccer
Yeah.
field. Okay.
Maybe that's something that, we can, if nothing else, maybe contact some of the soccer
I don't think we
people
can.
and just ask them, say, hey, be careful with your kids. I mean,
Sure, absolutely.
There's,
if they're gonna have to park someplace, but maybe if they give parents a little reminder. that, hey,
hopefully we'll get Country Club Park sodded or whatever, not sodded, but graded and grass on it and everything else. And we'll be able to split the soccer up into two different fields and they won't have that. We don't have enough parking there. That's absolutely correct. There's a lot of parking on the north side of the clubhouse there at the golf course, but it's a long walk to the soccer fields and people, they don't want to park over there because they don't want to walk that far. So they want to park on the street.
It's better getting your kid hit
Let
than.
them use golf carts. When you get down there.
Let's get a shuttle service going.
Well, people who live in Webb City that are playing in it don't have golf carts. Yeah, whoever does, that's true.
That's all I had under.
All righty. Jay, you have anything under unfinished business? New business, Holly?
No, sir.
Bob? Rick?
Just one thing, I had someone contact me about, I guess, a loud car in Briarbrook early in the morning. I was-
5:15.
Yeah, 5:15.
Yep.
I was,
That's Cataquini to me.
I kind of like went through our code book. Do we not have any kind of no noise ordinance, like a time from when to when or any of that stuff?
It's a Camaro. He backs out 5:15 to 5:25 every morning and goes to work.
Yeah, so.
The problem with enforcing a noise ordinance is the fact that my hearing isn't as good as what your hearing is. So it might bother you and it might not bother me. So you put something like that in front of the judge and it's too subjective. So without a decibel meter in somebody's hand, like an officer parked on the corner, when he leaves, there is no way to enforce a noise ordinance.
Ask Airport Drive.
Ask Airport Drive.
It's like put my straight pipes back on my truck.
There you go.
Anyway, I would just.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I know.
bring it up.
I'm generally awake by then. So.
Actually, I suggested that they live near you, so they come knock on your door in the morning.
Yeah, I'm awake. So.
I didn't tell them.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
New business, Roger?
Nothing.
I have nothing. LaDonna?
I have something, and I guess maybe I could ask about it during codes, but do we have an ordinance? I think Joplin has one, Airport Drive has one for no cut throughs, like a private parking lot to avoid traffic controls.
That's pretty standard in the codes.
We,
We should.
we've got a problem over at Fern Briarbrook, and I heard about it, but I really hadn't thought that much till I was sitting in a business the other day. And as blind as I am, I could see out the south window, vehicles just flying past a business window, and heard people go and looked, and somebody was flying through the parking lot to avoid the intersection at Fern Briarbrook and just about nailed a car that was parking on the south side.
Casey's?
No, at
Bailey's?
Bailey's. And I guess
Bailey's has speed bumps in there now.
yeah, she put in speed bumps, hoping it helped. They're going around them. And somebody almost got hit, like a pedestrian walking to their car the other day. I don't know what we can do there, but I mean, I was in there for one meal, and I don't know how many were going through there. So they go through and turn right on the turn.
Isn't that like a law? I remember reading that in my driver's ed book or something. It's
Well,
like
I
illegal.
don't know, Mr. Talley's finding that.
It's gonna take a minute with our.
like I said, I know, I remember when Airport Drive put it on the books because they had so many people that were cutting down through their narrow municipal roads to try to avoid Stone's Corner.
Right, but how do you,
Well, they're
But-
off,
how
right
do you-
now, they're going where the old Toronto station used to be, up there at Stone's Corner. They're cutting through there to miss the roundabout.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you have to, in that case, you kind of could say, no, I'm not cutting through. I'm coming up to this house to visit, or I'm coming up to talk to somebody. But in this case, they're just obviously cutting through a commercial parking lot
yeah,
to avoid.
I don't think Airport Drive's law, but going on their public roads, they can enforce that.
Yeah, I mean, it was, to me, it was
Yeah.
one of those kind of like the noise ordinance.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they put it on the books, but I thought at the time, how, you can just say, no, I'm looking up here to see if I want to buy property and move to the neighborhood. But in this case, they're actually going through the commercial lot.
That only happens at 7:45 to 8:15.
No, it was like 2 in the afternoon.
Really? No,
Yeah, yeah.
there shouldn't have been any traffic. Are you sure they weren't
One
parked there?
would- No, they were, because we were actually, I was with a friend and we were sitting there and talking, and the owner of the business came out and was sitting and talking, and we were watching how many,
What day was this?
what day did, Friday?
Saturday?
Friday, Thursday, whatever day I came in here to talk to you guys. Friday.
So there wasn't
It
like
was
a
about
garage
2
sale
o'clock.
or anything else going on?
Well, yeah, there were
Plenty on
there were some sales going, early sales, but the owner of the business is like, yeah, I recognize that vehicle. I recognize, because they do it quite often, I guess.
Well,
They use it as a right turn lane.
Mr. Talley will take a look
I
at it.
haven't found it yet, but
He'll find it
it's a
eventually.
very common provision. I know we have it in Duquesne. I know it's a job.
Okay,
It's a call.
Is there a term for it?
all right. Is that all?
Yeah, that's it. If we don't have one, maybe it's something we should consider, because it is a safety
Well,
hazard.
we should have one.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
should
it
have one.
should be in there. If it's
Mike?
not, that's something we
Do you have a term for it?
put together. Avoidance of traffic controls basically is you're cutting through to avoid traffic controls someplace else. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike?
Oh, yeah, I heard from a couple former city officials regarding the piece of property where they used to do the VIP parking at the Bluegrass Festival. And both kind of iterated the same point, that they thought that there was an agreement at one point for the city to take control of that. And I guess probably aware of that and just checking in on if that happens to be the case.
I went back in my computer, and my computer doesn't go far enough back to look at it. So I did talk to Mary Beth this afternoon when she was in. She thought that it was probably around 2005 or 2006. She wasn't for sure, but she was going to dig through her stuff and see what she could find too in hers and see.
That's all I've got.
Thank you. Jim? I'll skip you for now, Mr. Talley. Elena?
Yes, sir. We have been having some issues lately with our copiers in City Hall. We have had to call Kirsten Kelly over 3 times in the last 6 months to come fix one in particular. And at the last time that he came out, he told us that basically our machines have aged out, and the parts that they aren't able to get at this point are parts that have already been produced, and that Conoco will not be producing anymore for either of our machines. And so I spoke to someone else at Pearson Kelly, and one of our machines has already, what is the phrase they use for it? It's a fancy phrase, it's too old. So they're not going to be doing any more maintenance on them. Once the parts are gone, the parts are gone. So she gave us a quote for a new machine, basically one machine big enough to replace both of the copiers that we have currently. The smaller machine apparently was never meant to be a big stand-up machine. So what she gave us was a quote on a Kyocera that will be faster than the two machines we have now, which would be important, especially now that we're printing 3,000 paper bills as opposed to 3,000 postcard bills. It would be, the total purchase is $8,775.99. She says this is on a state bid, which Steve was able to verify today that it is a state bid price. The monthly maintenance on it would be a total of $140.35 because we do have a maintenance contract for our machines. Currently, we spend $287.40 on our maintenance contract for both machines. So if we did upgrade, we would save $147.05 each month, and we would have all the same features that we have now, just in one machine that is bigger and faster and able to handle more work.
Sounds like something the budget committee needs to look at.
Mike, are there lots of times where multiple people would want to be using this machine and having only one of them would be kind of tying this machine up and somebody else couldn't do their work? And although it is faster and able to get the job done quicker,
I'm kind of notorious for printing on their colored text paper because that happens.
so, I mean, that's just the benefit of having two, is that
Yeah.
two people can be getting their work done.
Which we own both of the machines that we have now, so we don't have to get rid of them. We could keep them for as long as they work. It's just that once they don't work anymore, there won't be any more parts to fix them. We have the ability now on the big one. We can interrupt a job to do a different job if one is more time sensitive and one is not. So yes, there are times when it could be an issue only having one.
When you say state bid, that $8,000 purchase price, is that what that was?
Yes.
That's the best they could do.
That's the state price.
Can you
The
lease?
state's negotiated with.
Yes.
And the bid on leases,
The lease was
200 and something
$240 a month. That would include the service contract as well. It is a 5-year lease, and at the end of the 5 years, we could either pay the, what's it called?
fair market value.
The fair market value, or we could upgrade to all the equipment. It would be our decision at the end of the 5-year lease.
Well, that's comparable to what we're paying now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense, because in 5 years, the way technology goes, this one might be obsolete. So it would probably make more sense to do a lease on it.
So at $250 a month for 60 months, or $140 for 60 months plus the $8,000.
So does that mean you're going to stop the maintenance agreement on the two we own?
If they can't get parts and you've got a good one.
Well, they're working right now. That's $200 and some a month, right? You gonna just cut that off?
I would stop the service
I would
agreement.
stop-
That's fine then. That's fine. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
I
To
mean,
me,
I would-
that would make more sense, because like I say, and then at the end of 5 years, hand off the problems to them and get a new one. Otherwise, in 5 years, then we're probably gonna start having problems anyhow.
No, we have had this issue, what did you say, we've had them for, did you say 10 years?
We got them shortly after we moved into this building, so somewhere between 10 and 12 years.
So they have lasted a while. The last time we had to call, he did not think he was going to be able to save the one he was there to fix. He thought it was really, really dead. They're tired. They're so tired, yes. We worked a lot.
I mean, I know, like you say, that overall, we're gonna pay, but not when you add in the maintenance cost.
Can we print the bills on, during that time where we're printing the bills? We could print the bills on that HP.
If you're okay with the local contracting, yes.
Or print the bills on the new one, and then if you have
Yes.
something, you gotta show.
Yeah, which is probably what we ought to be doing. There's workarounds on all of that. Because we do have one that's dedicated to printing bills.
I suppose a big part of, there's the expense for the machine, but then also the expense for the toner is probably a large expense
That's included in
in the maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, then I would, yeah, I'm like you, I think it'd be a better deal. I mean, we can look at it budget wise, but I think it'd be a better deal to lease the new one with the maintenance included, cancel the maintenance plan on the two that are basically obsolete at this point. You're just transferring what you would pay on a maintenance contract to have a brand new printer.
That's the way to go.
So you go for it.
That's what I do.
I mean, if you find out that there's a bunch of hidden charges or something they start hitting you with, we can talk about it. But budget wise, I think it makes more sense. We get the printer for free, basically.
16 months.
5 years.
Not really. Anything else under new business? Crystal?
Yes, sir.
Steve?
One thing, I had a request from, first time in 20 years that I've been here, a request from Project Graduation for an event sponsorship. It's $500 event sponsorship for Project Graduation. I really can't say yay or nay on it because I have a senior this year. But if we're gonna do it for my senior, we need to do it for when Crystal has a senior, or Elena has two seniors. I don't wanna make them cry because they're losing their babies, but so that's the first time I've ever had them come to me, and they are a separate from the school district. They are their own 501c3.
Can we do that legally?
Sure.
Sure.
We're just giving a donation to the organization.
Yeah, to the
Right.
organization.
But
It's not for an individual.
No, I understand, but I mean, can we legally collect tax money and give it to a charity?
No, we can't. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to this.
Okay.
I didn't think we could,
But
because
if
that'd
that's
be
the
like,
question, the answer is no.
Okay.
that's why I'm at, I mean, I
It
personally
violates
would
the
like to do it, but
Constitution to grant
I'd say that's a
public
no
money.
then.
That's a no.
That's a no. Thank you. for
I
being
didn't
here.
hear the whole conversation because I've still been looking for this missing provision of our.
No, that's LaDonna.
well, but then again, I saved us from breaking the law.
What was the second thing?
That was it.
What
I
was
only
the
have
first
one
thing?
for new.
Oh,
Public monies cannot be provided for a charitable purpose. You can do it for a public purpose. It serves the citizens of this community, but not for a charitable purpose. You can't give public money away like that.
Good.
That is prohibited in the Constitution,
I like that.
Missouri Constitution.
Anything else? Nothing, Steve?
Yeah, now they have to pay for their own senior.
Now I have to think of her needs.
Sorry, but you're
Oh,
not gonna,
no, yeah.
but you're
now
not
she
gonna
was
get in
a second
trouble.
grader.
Jay, do you have any new business for us? Is there any other business for the council?
Make a motion, we
Oh, yes,
Would you
Mr.
like-
Talley. I'm
Would you
sorry.
like me to draw an ordinance that prohibits the avoidance of traffic control devices by cutting corners and so forth?
I think that would be very appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that it's not in our code.
Shocked and appalled, that is what we got. Okay, I second the motion to adjourn.
Anything else on new business first, Mr. Talley? Okay. Mr. Roger Spencer, second by Don Allen, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. We are adjourned. Thank you all for attending. We appreciate that. It's nice to see a lot of faces here.
Sorry.
Good job. Good job.
Oh, we're supposed to go to the library.
I didn't know that.
Are we supposed to?
Hi.
Library, remember we were just gonna go over this.
Oh, crap.
The library, I forgot, we're supposed to go to the library. Yeah, they were supposed to be in today because they wanted to.
Is that located at Briarbrook?
No. Listen, mister.